Hey everybody, how you doing? Got a little dancing going on there. It is Thursday evening, March the 11th, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you for taking time. Hey, everybody say hello in the chat if you're on the Zoom call. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, please reach out to us. I'm not sure we're broadcasting. I got an error message while we were in that countdown timer, and I don't know how to go fix it while we're in action here. So we may not be on YouTube tonight. Sorry, but I'll take this video and edit it and put it up on YouTube eventually. But I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're on the call. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Paul is standing by in the green room, and he's going to be with us in just a moment. But first, it's time to do the announcements. Of course, we begin with the pledge, the pledge to ourselves, the Flipping America pledge. Here we
When you choose American IRA as your self-directed IRA administrator versus the other guys, you're choosing a path that will save you money without sacrificing expertise.
If I hit the right buttons, we can do this, but I got a little ahead of myself. I did that yesterday too, didn't I? Sorry about that. I'm not supposed to hit that button over there. I'm supposed to hit this one right down here to turn it to the pledge. There's the pledge. All right, put your hand over your heart. Here we go. When I look in the mirror, I see the reason, the credit for my successes, the blame for my failures. I cannot make it without my team, and I tell them often. But when they succeed, it's because I chose well and I led well. When they fail, it's because I did not choose or lead well. I am the reason. I may have setbacks, but I cannot fail if I don't ever give up. You got circumstances. I got circumstances. We all got circumstances, but you won't find me under mine. My situation will not dictate my emotion. My circumstances will not control my results. External forces will not take away my power to choose. I cannot change the world, but I can change me and the way I relate to it. So I charge on. I am the reason. I have a, there you go. I have a massive vision, which creates massive pressure, which leads to massive action, which is the only chance I have to achieve massive results. The world doesn't owe me success. God doesn't owe me success. No one but me is going to work for my success. Therefore, no one is going to work harder for their success than I will for mine. I will give my all and then a bit more. So tomorrow, my all will be more. Tonight, our guest is Paul Williams. We're going to talk about multifamily mastery. He exited one business, started into this business, has built a business. He's taken over Texas right now, and I wanted you to meet him and hear what he had to say. Paul, you're taking over Texas, right? I could see him. Y'all can't see him yet, but we'll bring him in here in just a minute. And that's coming up in just a minute. Next Wednesday, REI Tech. I've got my good friend Don DeRosa is going to join us. We're going to take a look at all the latest tech that affects the real estate investing world. And if there is something out there that's useful, Don's on it. He's also testing out a lot of stuff that isn't useful. In the middle of his busy schedule of teaching and training and flipping houses and owning rental properties and cash flowing, he is always on top of the cutting edge of technology. And so you want to be here to hear what he has to say. And we're not going to talk just about the latest and greatest and all the newest toys. We're going to talk about a little bit of a philosophical framework for adapting to the new technology, because it's always changing. There's something new right around the corner. And how often do you need to just completely change gears and shift what you're doing and switch over to a new platform or something like that? I'm using, for example, a program now called Ecamm Live, which Don DeRosa told me about some months ago after it first came out. He was one of the very first people to use it, and he told me about it, and I liked it. I liked the possibilities, and it fit with what we were trying to do here. And so you're going to enjoy Don. Great guy. And then next Thursday night, Bob Bloom is going to join us. He is an attorney out of Texas, and he's going to talk about asset protection. And he takes a little bit different approach than some of the other people I've talked to and had on the show. So that'll be next Thursday evening. And I'm always interested in learning everything I can about life and business and protecting my assets. This is a little bit of kind of a surprise, really. We recently learned that if you just say to Alexa, play the podcast, Flipping America, you have to say it that way. You have to say, play the podcast, Flipping America. It'll work. And she will play the next. Is somebody doing it? Okay. Here's your screenshot time, everybody. If you need some resources, a way to find deals, get my book. That link will take you to Amazon, where you can buy this book, Fantastic Deals and Where to Find Them. And you can get the Kindle version of it for $3.99, or you can get the paperback for $9.99. Driving for dollars, get funded, gap and unsecured funding. Bill is coming back in a couple of weeks. Bill Jennings is going to join us and talk about gap and unsecured funding. He's going to give his entire presentation. And I know you're going to want to take advantage of this, because one of the things that you can use unsecured funding for is to pay the Flipping America guy for some awesome training in your real estate business. Analyze deals, self-directed IRA, insurance, deals from the MLS. Take the screenshot, check these things out later on. I wouldn't bring you something here to the resource page if I didn't believe in it and use it myself. Okay. Flipping America is the brand. It is a show that's broadcast coast to coast 3 times a week. I hope that you're listening. And would you do me this kindness, please? Would you tell a friend, encourage 2 or 3 friends to listen? I know no one's going to listen to 3 hours of me every week, but if we can get, if you have 50 or 100 friends and they will all listen to 1 hour of me, then that's going to help our audience grow. And it's not just me. I'm going to take the audio from tonight. And in fact, we have amazing guests and amazing people on the show, and a lot to learn. We're 470 hour-long episodes so far, and that's really the equivalent of a college education in real estate investing. We have our app. It's free. There's no in-app purchase, charge, or upsell or anything like that. Completely free. It's searchable by topic or by guest. And the show notes are there. They're clickable links that you can go and read the stories yourself and see what you think about stuff that I'm commenting on or making fun of. Then Flipping America formed the Real Estate Investors Association, now 30 chapters nationwide with over 10,100 members in our meetup groups. That's pretty cool. It's local networking with national impact. I love being a part of it, and I guess I'm more than a part of it. I founded it, and I love just being, hanging out with you guys on Wednesdays 12:30 and Thursdays 7:30 Eastern time. We are also putting together the Flipping America Academy, courses taught by me and others to give you a complete real estate investing education. Please, 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 please do not go to the hotel rooms and pay the traveling snake oil salesman $50,000 or $80,000 to teach you how to get involved in real estate investing. Our full-blown mentoring program is a whole lot less than that, and it's not because I think less of myself. I think it's actually better education. I just think fair is fair. A reasonable price is good, and that's enough. And the other thing that I think too is some people can't even afford that. So you can take these courses one at a time, sort of put together your own elective schedule in the Academy of Real Estate Investing. Notice I didn't call it a university or a college. We settled on Flipping America Academy because it is a place of learning, but we're not giving you a diploma or anything. I do have a master's degree. I have been a college professor, and I could teach that way, but I prefer to try to make it a little bit more fun. All right. This is a course that's coming out soon. It's one of our newest courses. It's Real Estate REI by the Numbers. I meant to not even show that slide tonight, so I'm just going to skip it. The Flipping America Buyers Club is a done-for-you cash flow deal where you can learn to buy houses that you can sell or finance. All of the training is inside the club, but even better than that, we find the deals for you. You don't really have to do anything except provide the money to invest in the cash flow. We buy the properties and we make them available to club members. And just because I buy it in the club doesn't mean you have to buy it from me, but that's the way it goes. Your membership fee is refunded to you when you buy your first house. How about that? So it's really free. If you're serious about buying investment properties and you want cash flow and you've got something between 30 and 50,000 or more to invest in these properties, we're buying little houses all over the country for between $10,000 and $20,000 and selling them for $30,000 or $40,000 as is using seller financing. I teach you all about how to do it inside the club. That's just go to that link right there. I don't know if you can read that, bit.ly/Flipping America Buyers Club. All right. Of course, if you couldn't see it, you can email me. I'll send it to you. Don't worry. Okay. The Flipping America Network is a trading platform for buyers and sellers of investment real estate property. It will go live April 1st. And that's not an April Fool's joke. I don't know. We have a lot of user interface things that we're working on and correcting. And it seems like, I don't know this stuff about the development team, but it seems like when we fix one thing, it breaks something else. And so we're doing a lot of error tracking and so forth. Those of you that are in the technology world and you know how this works, you're nodding right now because you understand how all this goes. For me, it's frustrating. I mean, like, come on, why can't we have this like 6 months ago? But trust me, when it comes, it's going to be worth the wait. Wholesalers will no longer have to build a buyer's list. Buyers of fix and flip properties are no longer going to have to plow the ground trying to be a deal marketer while you're also trying to be a house fixer. All you got to do is tell us where you want to buy, and the wholesalers will post the properties. And when a property posts in the zip code you're interested in, boom, you get a text message right there on your phone, and it says, look what just hit the fan. And you can open it up, you can talk to the seller, you can arrange to see the property, or you can go to contract right from your phone using our DocuSign integration. It's a pretty cool thing. Make sure you say hello to everybody in the chat. Use the Q&A tab for questions. And I do want you to pop your questions in here and ask Paul anything you want as we're going through the conversation, which we are going to start right now. After this word from American IRA, our sponsor.
When you choose American IRA as your self-directed IRA administrator versus the other guys, you're choosing a path that will save you money without sacrificing expertise or performance. Because unlike the other guys, we do not work on a sliding scale of fees. We offer one low set annual administration fee. Let's take a closer look. As your assets grow with American IRA, your annual fee remains the same. The other guys base their fees on the number of assets you own or the value of your account. So over the life of your self-directed IRA, your annual fees will continue to increase year after year. What does this mean for you? When you work with us, you'll have more money to put towards the important things in your life, like retirement. We know that there are already enough places your money has to go, from your state and local government to the IRS. Don't let your self-directed IRA administrator take more from you than they should. So with American IRA, no matter how your assets grow over the life of your investment, you'll pay one low set annual fee, putting you in total control of your financial future. Choosing American IRA means you're choosing expertise, value, and performance.
Okay.
So I was walking through a home improvement store one day and I just saw a sign that said, we need a contractor to run a trucking operation delivering our goods. And I said, well, I'll do it. I bought a truck and a week later we were in business delivering for Menards, which is a Midwest company. We, just started doing that. And then I had a goal to deliver everywhere, bought more trucks. And then after a few years, I realized that brokering freight was the place to be.
Oh, okay. Brokering freight. So is that what the trucking business really is? You're brokering freight?
Yeah, we brokered freight and we moved thousands of truckloads a year, business to business, anything from MRI prototypes to race cars, Formula One race cars, global rallycross, frozen chicken, aluminum for airplanes, you name it. We've done it.
Pork bellies, canned peaches, truck tires, and lumber.
Yes. All
Those
of the
are,
above. And
yeah, that's just a short list of things that I cleaned up on the side of railroad tracks when I was a teenager, working for my dad. We clean up after train wrecks. Seriously.
oh, wow.
All right. Now that sounds really fascinating, and it's diverse. It's something different every day. Now I have some friends. I don't know if you ever heard of Southeastern Freight, but I have some friends that were running Southeastern Freight over in Columbia, South Carolina. And they, good guys, good company. And they told me that the margins are razor thin in the business, and it's very competitive, and it's just a tough business to be in. Did you experience that too?
Yeah, it was tough, but coming from a background where I wasn't making much money, it was, I didn't know that the razor thin margins were bad. I thought I thought we were making good money.
Well, the margins don't really matter if the volume is there, right?
Right. Yeah, we
All right.
moved. Millions and
Okay,
millions of
so
dollars straight.
what prompted you to get out of the business?
Well, I had started buying real estate with a profit from my trucking business.
Smart.
And yeah, I just buy rentals. And whenever I had the cash to buy another rental, I would buy another one. Then I got into buying commercial buildings in 2014. And then in 2016, I was like, you know what? well, actually, we had a few changes in our business, in our trucking business, losing some key customers, and it wasn't as much fun. And I decided it was time to move on. And I had enough passive income from the real estate that I didn't really need the trucking business. So I left that, turned it over to an employee, and just focused on real estate.
Oh, you didn't sell the company.
Uh, so we were in the process of selling it, but before we inked the deal and signed all the papers, I went ahead and let this employee take it over, and she hired her son, who extended a bunch of credit to unworthy customers, and all the equity that was in the business was, basically went away. And at some point I just said, okay, just take the business, and all the money you were going to pay me, since there's, you have all this bad debt that eroded the the value in the business. I said, just take it before it gets any worse.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Sounds like maybe it could have saved you some money in taxes there, but all right. I'm sure you had good advisors, probably those people from Tax Hive, right? They were working with you.
Yeah.
We both met Tax Hive at the same time. Was that your first time out there in Salt Lake?
Yeah, it was. I'll be there next week also.
Oh, for Eddie's thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go, but the schedule's not allowing me to go this time. I really wanted to be there for that one. All right. So, so you did exit the trucking business, and you got out of it okay. But I think the life lesson here for all of us is you were generating money, more money than you needed to live. And instead of lifestyle, cars, houses, buy your own private island, you were buying assets that were going to continue to provide you income. And then lo and behold,
Yeah.
one day they were taking care of your life. That's how I define financial freedom. When your passive investments pay for your lifestyle. So you never really had to do anything again at that point, right?
No, I didn't. But after a few months of waking up with nothing to do at all, and I would wake up with no purpose. I have a wife and 4 small kids, but waking up with nothing to do, and except just tinker around the house. After a few months, it just, believe it or not, it just got, I don't know, kind of depressing. Having no purpose and
Yeah.
doing anything productive every day of the week.
There's only so many Lego Millennium Falcons you can build before it gets boring, right?
Right.
Some people on the call have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know. Do you have boys?
I've got 3 girls and a boy.
All right. Are there any Legos involved?
Yes, and sometimes I find them on my bare feet. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. The worst pain known to humanity is Legos on your bare feet. But yeah, I have a son also. Fortunately, he's past the Lego stage. Actually, he's just about to graduate from college. All right, so you've got this going on, and now you're just kind of drifting. And so, what did you do about it? By the way, that's a problem we'd all like to have.
Yeah, and it wasn't as much fun as I guess I envisioned, because we all have this, imagination of what is it going to be like when I wake up and, I'm financially secure. I don't have to work another day in my life. But it was, I don't know, it was not as much fun as I thought. Although it was nice to, go to sleep at night. I don't need to work. The money's taken care of. We live in an amazing house, all this stuff. But yeah, at some point I just thought, well, I like real estate. I've been doing it for actually since 2001. It's when I bought my first investment property. So I just decided to do more of that and got into flipping, flipped about 80 houses, moved into multifamily. Of course, I already owned commercial properties at that point.
Okay. So are you still doing house flipping now?
Yeah, it's kind of a side hobby. I've got 2 flips going on right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's how I made my bones in this business, and it's sort of a side hobby for me now too. But it helps. Income from that, any income helps, right?
Yeah,
all right.
Well,
so go ahead.
Yeah, it's nice to get that little, that lump sum at the end when you flip it, and then, you can roll it into apartments or buy another rental or, do some more flips or give it to the
Ah,
wife.
ah. And so the snowball continues to roll and to build, because when you use your income from your flips now and you buy more cash producing properties, then you're just building that wealth snowball, right?
And if I
All
want
right.
to raise, buy another rental property. Um,
Okay. So, um, I mean, you're young, you've got everything that you can imagine that you want. What could your goals possibly be now?
well, I still have some like personal financial goals of getting to a certain net worth by a certain age, and then certain travels. Of course, we've traveled all over the world with our family and wife and kids, and but now I'm focusing. Although I still have goals for myself, I'm doing more goals, kind of giving back. So doing some mission trip. I volunteer teaching young adults. Just kind of life stuff. And, I'm looking more to give back. So, but I'm still working to up my lifestyle some.
I just realized I didn't have the chat box open. I mean, the Q&A box open, but I just want to remind everybody, if you want to ask Paul a question yourself, put it in the Q&A tab. I'll see it. I'm not going to see what's going by in the chat. It's kind of going by a little bit too fast for me to even look down there. All right. So we've got some people that are on this call that want to get started in multifamily. Well, first of all, would you say multifamily or some other type of commercial to begin with?
I like multifamily. I think it has more stability than some of the others. I used to own retail properties and office properties on the highway, good properties. But I've seen some commercial properties stay vacant for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, looking for a tenant or a buyer. With multifamily, the occupancy of an area, you can have a pretty good guess of what your investment's going to do. It's kind of like having a rental property. It doesn't take years and years to fill a rental. You can put it on apartments.com or something, get a tenant the next day.
Yeah, I think maybe the worst commercial property to own is restaurant space, because it takes forever to get another restaurant in there, and then there's usually a build out, and then most restaurants don't make it, and right now it's tough on restaurants. I don't know. Um, I've been a part owner, and I don't even want to go into it. I got out as quick as I could. I don't think ever again for restaurant. Now I've done pretty well with office and light industrial, but and it's funny, my own personal experience, I've only been a part of one apartment complex, and it's not really for lack of anything else except I'm resisting the urge to chase shiny objects, you know. There's so many opportunities out there and so many different things to do, and there's only one of me.
And
um
that's one. I do the same thing. I see a good opportunity, and it's something that I have no knowledge about, and I want to just throw some money in there. But I got to remind myself that I do my best deals when I'm in control of it, and um,
yeah,
all that.
when you fully understand it. If you
Yeah.
don't fully understand here's another life lesson for you folks on the call. If you don't fully understand the real estate that you're about to buy, then there are two costs. There's the cost of the property, and there's the tuition cost of learning what not to do. It's just a fact of life. If you're willing to pay that tuition cost, by all means, dive in. But I would say dip a toe in first. All right. Um, so you're working on net worth and the give back goals, and man, you haven't heard me say this before. This is your first time with us on this call, but I say this a lot. The reason I do this and devote the hours that it takes to put all this together and try to learn how to hit all the buttons right here in the studio and make this thing happen is simply to help the people that are on this call and the people that may be watching this video later on, to help them grow their business. Because I know that a lot of people that are trying to build this business want to do some good in the world through their philanthropy or charitable giving. And if they can make enough money to have extra set aside for their foundation or their charity or whatever it is, and they're giving to make the world a better place, if I have a small part in that, then that's what motivates me. It just cranks my engine up every morning. My goal is to help 1,000 people become real estate millionaires before I quit. And we're on our way. We got a ways to go, but we're on our way. And I like seeing what people do when they have more money than they need to live, or even more money than they need to fulfill their dream life. And I like hearing about that. And I'm glad for you. All right. We got some questions from the audience. Isaac, how many doors do you need to be able to support a property management group?
Well, so to have full-time property management on site, and there's a few variables that go into it. If it's a downtown, say downtown Austin, where things are renting for, $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, you don't need as many doors. But generally, it's kind of like 80 doors or more, you can have full-time people on site. And, kind of smaller than that, you don't really get the economies of scale. And the more doors you have, percentage goes. If you have single family rentals, you're probably paying 10%, maybe 9 or 8. But in multifamily, it kind of starts out at 5%, goes down to 4%. And if you've got, really big property, 250 plus doors, it may be 3.5 or 3%. So you get some economies of scale there.
Okay. His follow-up question is, do you use different property management groups depending on location?
Yes. Yeah. So we have properties. We focus on a 4-hour drive of Atlanta. I'm in Austin, and we invest where you are, Roger.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
yeah,
Hey,
so
you know what? The people that own my building are out of Texas. Your company's not JLB, is it?
No.
That would be weird.
That would be. Yeah. So we try to focus on an area, we picked Atlanta just because I started investing passively there. And then I got to know so many people that I moved into, actively investing and finding my own properties there. But yeah, we try to pick an area to where we can use the same property management, the same vendors, same, all the same HVAC people, contractors, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. That's a question I actually wanted to ask you, because my interest in multifamily, I have a deep interest in multifamily, and we have a lot of multifamily guests that come through here. But I think my future relationship with multifamily is to find operators and just participate in their deals, particularly ones that are going to do a value add and cash out, get my cash back to me. Let's go do it again and still enjoy the cash flow.
Yeah, that's a nice, because it's not tied up forever.
Yeah.
A lot of times guys like me, we try to do 3 to 5 year value add, turn and flip it, get all the investors back.
But you see, you started out that way, but then you ended up becoming an operator yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
So
More money?
I tried to be the operator first. I've had some success in the trucking business,
Yeah.
in the single family, and I thought, well, I could do this too. I mean, it's just, like a bunch of houses all under one roof. Well, it's a whole different ballgame with the multifamily, because even the treatment of brokers, you pretty much always go through the listing broker for a few reasons, but that I can get to if you want. But it's totally different ballgame. I tried to do it all by myself. I found out multifamily is really a team sport. You get people that are really good at the different aspects of what you need, and then you bring the deal together that way. So when I couldn't figure it out on my own, even though I'd gone through a training program on multifamily, I started investing in other people's deals. And then over time, I built that trust with the brokers, with the other operators and syndicators, until I could, start being the key principal myself.
Okay. All right. Armin wants to know, do you recommend starting off flipping houses to get into multifamily, or just go directly into multifamily?
Well, it might depend on how much money you have to invest. Because, if you don't have any money, it can be good to start out flipping houses. You make your 20,000, 30,000, or, if you're in a more expensive area, you're making your 50,000, 100,000 on a flip, and then you can roll that into apartments. And it depends on how active or passive you want to be. If you just want to be a passive investor, I I think multifamily is a great place to be because it's not uncommon to see returns of, 15 to 20% average per year. So,
for the
I guess,
passive.
yeah, for the passive, to the passive investor. So, in a lot of cases, you can double your money in, 5 years or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to answer that question. It depends on your goals, your time frame, how active you want to be, or how passive you want to be.
All right. Candace has a question for you. How do you choose your multifamily areas to invest? And let me ask you the second part of it too. Can you share what data you research in the area before investing in a multifamily?
Sure. Well, we've focused in on one area. So over time, we've just gotten to know the area enough. And, we can talk about different parts of Atlanta, and some of them I know well, and some of them I don't know well, and some of them we just avoid. So we
Just
focused in on
call
one
me
area.
dude. I'll tell you what to
Yeah.
avoid.
I don't, if I was investing in, Oregon and Atlanta and Chicago and Florida and Hawaii, that would be difficult to learn that area and to really know the nuances of the area. So we look at like job growth, job creation. Are people wanting to move there? Are businesses moving there? What's the household income like? Things like that. Milliken report has some good information on, what cities they see growing and trends. So that's one resource.
Yeah. I like city-data dot. Wait, no. What is it? It's not.
Yeah.
What is it?
.com.
Huh?
City-.com.
City-data.com.
Yep. And then you can zoom in on the neighborhood of where the house or the multifamily is.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you demographics, average income, all kinds of information. I love city-data.com.
Okay.
I zoom in all to find out, what part of town it's in.
All right. Now, Julie wanted to know if all your properties are in Texas. We've already dealt with that. They're all in the Atlanta area.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we've got an 83 unit in Branson. That's
Okay.
not quite Atlanta.
Not quite.
I've got single family rentals in Northwest Indiana. I got land development in Texas, but for the multifamily, we focus on Atlanta.
All right. Armin asks, how did you get your first multifamily property and how many doors is it?
Well, I started out investing passively, and I just tried to vet somebody to see if they were good. And then, if I trusted them enough, I just went ahead and investing. But when it came down to finding properties as a key principal or GP, actually, our property manager, who was managing other properties for us, he brought us a deal and said, I've got a seller that's selling. You should take a look at it before it hits the market. And we made an offer and we took it down. So.
All right, everybody, repeat after me. Your network is your
net worth.
There you go. How many times have you heard it? And I have another saying that I like also, and it's attributed to Benjamin Franklin, but I haven't really, it was just on a plaque somewhere. And I grabbed it and I stuck it over the door of my office in my previous office, and it hung there for years. And it says, opportunity tends to dance with those who are already out on the dance floor. I don't know if Ben Franklin said that. I don't care. That is so true. You get out there and you start doing things and other things are going to come your way. Can I get an amen in the house?
Amen to that.
All right.
Yeah, that's very true.
Candace says, how do you determine the number of doors to start?
Well, I was going to say I like the more the better, but there are some 1,000-unit properties in some of the major metros, but I like the 100 to 300 units. When it gets above kind of that 300, 350, it kind of turns into a different animal because you're running a real big operation. Below 100, it's difficult to get the economies of scale, the lower property management fees, and it's difficult to pay a full-time person there. If you've got a 40 door or 20 door, you just can't have full-time people on site.
This is exciting stuff, though, isn't it, everybody? Isn't this cool? But before you get too excited, I just want you to know I got Stacy Rossetti coming up in a couple of weeks, and she's going to talk about self-storage. and the show that we're calling Storage Nerds. So there are so many things out there in the real estate world, so many things that you can do. Just find the one that fits you. All right. So Julie wants to know, how has COVID affected your rent collections?
Well, for the most part, it's been very strong. Our Alabama property has not done so well. We've had a lot more delinquency, but we try to invest in landlord and business friendly states. It takes out a lot of the uncertainty. So it's done well for us because people have been moving to the states where we invest. So
Yeah.
The people don't want to, and we focus on like B properties. So A would be like your luxury, usually downtown, high amenities, high price tag. B is nice working class. C is questionable area, and D is dangerous. So that's kind of the better the property, the lower the return or cap rate you're going to get. So we like good returns with some stability and not too many surprises.
All right. So you would know my building. My building is a high rise in Midtown. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Isaac, what are banks looking for in terms of deposit? Does it qualify for SBA?
We don't do much with SBA. I don't really know anybody in multifamily that does SBA. Typically you have 20% down. Actually, lately it's been 25 to 30% down. Usually they want 12 months of principal, interest, and capital expenditure reserves. So you have to have a full year and a half of principal and interest payments on deposit at the bank, plus your 20 to 30% down.
And that's
where
that's where you go to your outside money sources sometimes. You're putting together like a private offering or something.
Right. We raise money for our deals, and then we add the value, and then we share the profits with the investors. So, generally for a property, you're going to raise about, 30 to 40% of the purchase price for closing. So a $10 million property, you'll raise maybe $3.5 million for it. And that would cover the closing cost, some money for value add, the principal reserves, things like that. So yeah, you're probably, and the smaller the property, if it's less than 3 million, you're going to need 18 months of principal and interest reserves.
Okay. That's quite a bit. And but that's what you go to your partners for, right?
Yeah. And the smaller the property, if you're doing, $3 million loan, they're going to want 35 to 40% down. So it's actually easier to do the larger properties. They're non-recourse. You get great interest rates with Fannie and Freddie. So you get some really attractive loans.
Okay.
For that.
Chris wants to know, on your refis, what LTV ratio are you suggesting for 2021?
I mean, I like the highest leverage as possible, but you generally don't see anything less than 80% leverage.
Okay.
But it's usually going to be 75%.
75% leverage. Yeah. All right. So for those of you that may be new, let's go through a scenario here. Let's say you're buying something for $3 million that's a value add, and it needs to be improved, and maybe 2 years you're going to refi it. And what will the value be? Just pick a number, typical number.
Say $4.5 million.
Okay. And so, all right. Did I pick a good number to start with, the $3 million deal, or should we go with a higher number?
I mean, I like bigger, but we go 3.
Let's do it. I got the calculator here. Just pick out a number.
Okay.
Start somewhere with a value add. Typical numbers.
$10 million.
$10 million. Okay. Wait, this little calculator doesn't go that high. Bunch of O's. Got it.
Hopefully
$10 million. Now, on $10 million, ballpark, how much cash you're going to have for your down payment and your reserves?
We'll call it $3 million.
All right. So between you and your buddies, you got to come up with $3 million cash. So you're going to put the 3 million into this thing. You got a $7 million loan and a $10 million valuation. 3 years from now, what's this going to be worth?
We'll call it 12 million.
All right. So we're going to say that's the number I really should put in the calculator. 12 million. All right. And you're going to get a 75% cash out. So that means you're going to pull out $9 million. So you're still going to have $1 million in it, but all of your buddies and your partners and everybody is going to get a little bit of their cash back at this point, right?
Yes.
Well, I guess 2/3 of it.
Yeah. And
All right.
so then their return, their return on investment goes way up.
So they own a percent. Yeah, they own a percentage of the deal, but their percentage of the deal stays the same even after the refi, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to help.
Usually,
go ahead.
yeah, that's good. So normally what we'll do is essentially we'll flip the property, just like you would flip a single family rental or a single family flip.
Mm-hmm.
Am I freezing it? Am I doing okay?
You're good. Yep.
Okay. So, essentially we're doing a big flip. And we don't usually write in the paperwork that, if we do we don't generally plan to hold these long term, although I like the idea of holding them long term. We're doing a flip and trying to get the investors' money back as fast as we can. The more money we make for our investors, the more money we make for ourselves.
All right.
So generally you have a preferred return. So the investor gets a set amount. You understand that? Okay. And then after the preferred return, the profit is split, say 70-30 after they get the preferred return. So the more money I can make for you, the higher my pay is for what I did in the deal.
So what's your typical hold time?
We say 5 years. We try to do, 2-3 years.
Do you refinance? If it's going to go 5, do you refinance after 2 or 3?
Yeah. If it's not going as there's not as much interest in the property as we thought. If we couldn't flip it as fast as we thought, yeah, we can do a refinance. Hold it for. So we try to have multiple exit strategies. We plan for 5 years. We try to do it in 3. Something comes up like COVID. There's a lot of uncertainty. We can do a refi and cash out the investors. They're happy. So yeah.
After you cash them out, do they stay in the deal though? In the cash flow?
Yes.
All right. That's cool. I'm asking some of these questions for my own benefit, Candace, when purchasing multifamily, do you always buy off market?
We try to. I mean, that's where you get your best deals. I was in Atlanta 2 weeks ago and when I got back, I was like, oh, I could have went and saw Roger, but
you should have, man.
Oh, I know.
All right.
Well,
so
I was right.
Specifically, where in Atlanta were you?
Well, I flew into Atlanta. I went to view some properties, walk some properties in Greenville, South Carolina. Came back and met with a broker in Sandy Springs.
Okay.
And we almost got a property there last year in Sandy Springs. Then I went to see my property manager in Marietta. Went down to Lawrenceville to see a property, and then over to West Atlanta, and then back to the airport. So it was a quick trip.
You didn't buy anything in West Atlanta, did you?
No.
All right.
The return. So the thing about, in a not as great area, it shows that you get better returns, but you have so many surprises along the way that, these great returns that you thought you were going to get for buying in a questionable area, you don't actually get them.
I can tell you what I think the opportunities are in West Atlanta, though. If you can buy raw land anywhere near the new Quarry Park that's been proposed and is probably going to happen, and develop that into multifamily, that could be something. But it needs to be developed into probably A class right from the beginning. The Quarry Park proposal is pretty good, and I think it can bring some real gentrification to West Atlanta. It's a little bit of a struggle, though. Are you familiar with Atlantic Station?
That's over by the Loop and 20.
Well, no, it's by 17th Street, just north of downtown. They put in business center but high end stuff, including an IKEA. But there's
Oh,
several tall buildings. There's a residential building that's 43 stories, 45 stories,
okay.
and nice restaurants, little shopping area, and they have piped in music in the shopping area, like streets. It's almost like you're in Disney World.
Huh.
It's a planned community, multi-use, and so forth. But they put it right in the middle of a high crime area, and it took years for them to kind of root out the crime and make that a decent place to live. Anyway, we're digressing a little bit, but I think that there's opportunity out there in Quarry Park, but it may be a long-term thing. The other areas you described are all fine. Lawrenceville's a little dicier, but anyway, next time you're in Atlanta, man, you gotta
Yeah.
hit me up, because you drove all around where I am, but I'm right downtown, right in the middle. Do you remember seeing the Bank of America Tower?
In Sandy Springs?
No, right in downtown Atlanta. It's one of the tallest
Yeah.
buildings in Atlanta.
Yeah, I wasn't. I mean, I'm sure I saw it, but
Okay.
I don't. We don't do much like right in Atlanta proper.
Oh, okay.
I'm always.
Well, if I went out right there and threw a rock, I could hit the Bank of America Tower. That's where we are. Those of
Okay.
you that know Atlanta now know where I am. My hiding place is exposed. All right. Armin wants to know, do you have to be an accredited investor to invest with you? I think that's a good question.
So in the past, we've always taken sophisticated and accredited investors. Now, a sophisticated investor just means you're not accredited. Accredited investor, in a short and sweet, is net worth of $1 million or more, not including your primary residence, or you make 200,000 a year by yourself, or 300,000 if you're with your spouse, and you expect to continue doing that. So a sophisticated investor just means you're not accredited. And in the past, we've always taken both. But as our deals get bigger, we may have to at some point just go to accredited investors. There's some special nuances to not taking accredited investors that you got to be careful with, and none of us want to go to prison. So,
Have you ever thought about crowdfunding a deal?
yes, we have.
And
Yeah, we've talked to some of those guys. Usually, they want too much of the deal. They want too much control. They want too much. So it's never worked for us. But I know some people have gotten it to work for them.
we looked into doing a crowd fund to put together a sizable fund for house flipping nationwide, and the lawyers wanted 120,000 just to draw up the paperwork. I thought, well, never mind.
Yeah, our paperwork for our deals is usually 10 to 15,000 for a 160-page document that
Yeah,
that's not easy.
yeah, $1,000 a page. All right, Candace, what's the typical percentage you offer your investors and interest? I think we talked about that.
So we've been doing a 7 pref, which means that the investor gets 7% return on their money each year before there's any split. So let's say, Roger, you invest $100,000 with me for 5 years. 7 pref means that you get 7% per year, 5 years, 35% back on your money. So you get 135,000 back before there's any profit split. After that, it's generally 70-30. So, depending on how much profit is made. So I've got to make you a nice profit before there's anything. And I know 7% isn't great, but at least it gives you some assurance that I'm going to make sure that, it's not just a 70-30 split, which some people do. I've got to give you 7% per year before there's any split.
And so the split is 70 your way and 30 my way, right?
No, it's 70 your way, 30 my way.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
I have
pretty
to
nice.
perform. I want to make a lot of money. I got to make you a lot of money.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Armin, can there be more than one GP with a deal? If yes, how?
Yeah, it's common to have multiple GPs in a deal. So I have 2 partners at Multifamily Geeks. And depending somebody brought us a deal last week in Central Texas, and since they brought the deal, then they'll get a piece of they'll get a piece of that. Generally there's GP for different people. So, depending on the size of the deal, you might have one GP, you might have 3, you might have 10 GPs, just depending on who found the deal, who brought it,
Yeah.
who's managing.
I know Armand, he's here in Atlanta. And so if he brings you a deal and you buy it, you might leave him in with a small percentage of ownership in the deal.
Yeah. So he might get, depending on how good it is and all that, it might, he might get 5 or 10% of the GP, even though he didn't do anything. All he did was found the deal.
Yeah. Armand, do you hear that? Get to work, brother. Isaac, so was the easiest way for you to get started and find investors by investing with another multifamily buyer, then from there getting the track record and the contacts to do it yourself?
Yes, that was it. That was how it worked for me, because a lot of people, they pay the big money for the guru program, and they get education, they get their weekly call with their coach, and are you getting mad? Oh no, you're reading comments.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're getting a lot of 7s here in the chat already. I just noticed that we don't do the 7s till later, but that's the Zoom way of applauding.
Oh, okay.
And say, people are saying amen and thanking you, and so keep it up, keep going.
So a lot of people go through that, and then they have this knowledge, but then like actually applying it, there's so many moving parts to multifamily, and you go through a guru program. They'll tell you you can find the deal all by yourself, and you can do all the due diligence all by yourself, and you can raise all the money. You've never raised money before, but you can go out and raise $3 million all by yourself, and then you can manage this deal and do the value add, turn around and sell it, and you get you're going to get a $600,000 acquisition fee. You're going to get all this GP, and you do one deal, it'll 10 times pay for this education that you're paying for. So people will sign up for it with high hopes, but then, it's almost like it's just about impossible to do all this all by yourself, unless you got a background in this, and not single family, but maybe commercial, multifamily.
So let's flip the script. What's a better way to get going? Because I agree with you. You're not going to be taken seriously if you don't have any experience. Brokers are not going to take you seriously. Lenders are not really going to pay attention if you don't have a track record.
Yeah. So in commercial multifamily, if a broker asks you for a proof of funds, then that's kind of code for, we don't think you're legit. So they'll ask you for. So back to the question. I'm getting myself sidetracked.
That's okay.
So
chase that rabbit. Come on.
All right. So, the brokers, they don't want to waste their time dealing with somebody that's not going to close it, tie it up for 2 or 3 months, waste all this money and time, make their seller mad and not use that broker anymore. So they want to make sure they're dealing with people that are serious. When I started investing passively, which that's the way that worked for me. Some people say you don't have to do that, but I don't know the other way. So I'll just tell you what I know worked for me. I started investing passively, and I leveraged the credibility of the team I was investing with. Then I tried to add value to that team. We've got a property in Marietta, Georgia. I said, hey, what can I do? They said, well, you have a construction background, flipping houses. We want to add storage units to this property in this basement. We got this big old basement in this building. And I flew out there and added value and on my own expense. And, next thing you know, it's like, hey, do you want to be a key principal GP in this next deal? And I'm like, yes, that's what I've been trying to do this whole time. But when I started investing with other people, building that credibility, leveraging their credibility, adding value back to them, then, then the brokers started taking me seriously. And, we started getting more deals.
Isn't that cool, y'all? I like it. And remember, got out there on the dance floor, started dancing. All right. Come on, y'all. Put some 7s in the chat. Let me see you appreciating them. All right, Chris, Are you raising rents, keeping them the same during the pandemic? If you are raising them, what percentage?
So yes, we are raising them. We're always adding value. Normally when we buy a property, there's a value add component. Normally the rents are lower than they need to be, or than they could be. So we improve the property, give the residents a better place to live, and charge them for it. And usually they're happy about that. So yes, we've been raising rents. In some cases, we've been raising them $100, $125 a month. Residents are happily paying it because, rents are increasing everywhere. So they're like, well, I don't want to move, same price as everywhere else. With multifamily, there's like daily pricing. There's a program you can get on, and a lot of the apartments, they'll charge a different price each day. That might only be like 87 cents different, from one day to the next. But, we use that when we're leasing units. We look at the daily pricing, what's everything else in the immediate market going for? Oh, I can raise it $5. Hey, we get $5 more. So yes, a lot of times it's $125 a month.
But
Sometimes
if you have 100 units and you raise them all $100 a month, that just blows up the valuation of that property.
Yeah. And if you want, I can explain that.
Oh, I know the math, but yeah, let's assume that people don't. Go ahead and explain that. Yeah.
So you got 100 units and you raise the rent over the course of, 18 months, you raise the rent by $100 a month. That's $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year.
10,000 a unit.
10,000 per month.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, got it. All right.
So we'll say you have a 50% expense ratio. Normally the expenses are lower than 50%, but we'll say you have a 50% expense ratio. So you get $60,000. That $60,000 profit, the way multifamily is traded or bought and sold, single family, they find out what the comps were down the street in the last 6 months and things like that. With multifamily, they base it off of the net operating income, which is basically the profit before any mortgage expense. So $60,000 profit at a 5 cap rate. The cap rate is just capitalization rate. It's the percentage of profit compared to the purchase price. So at a 5 cap, which is kind of typical these days, or lower, $60,000 profit per year. That's is that 1.2 million? You got your calculator? What's 60,000 divided by 0.05?
Yeah. Here it is. 60,000 divided by 0.05 equals 1.2 million. Good man. Good math.
Yeah. So if you buy property for, let's say you bought the property for, $8 million, you put 1.6 million down, then you got 1.6 million in the deal, but you just increase the value of the property by $1.2 million. So I don't know what that percentage is. Is that you just like get a 75% return on your money?
Well,
so
net worth speaking, not until you pull out the cash, but yeah.
Yeah, but you could refinance it. You could turn,
exactly,
cash out and sell it.
Yeah.
It's exciting because you can really force the appreciation on the apartments.
Okay. So we answered that question. You are raising rents. That's good. Is there a catch up before the split, meaning 7 pref, 2% catch up, then 70/30?
Yeah. So the investors would get all of their money back plus 7% per year. And then all of the profit from there on is split 70/30.
Okay.
So I'm not making, it's not a deal where, oh, I made $1 million, but you only made, $300.
Well,
so
I think what he was asking is like, all right, let's say on the example you gave me earlier, where I put in 100,000, and so I get my 7%. So that's $7,000. Then when we go to split the profits, are you going to first match me at 7,000, then we split 70/30, Or are we just going to split 70-30?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understood the question.
Well,
So
let's just say that the profit was an additional 25,000 for my share. Out of that 20, no, let's make the math easier. Let's say it was another $10,000 out of there. So out of that $10,000 of additional profit, am I getting 7 and you're getting 3? Or are you getting 7 to match my original 7%? And then we split the 3 70-30.
So I think I understand the question. So once you get your 100,000 back and 7% per year, let's say that there's $10,000 left over, that's split 70-30. So you get
Okay.
7,000, 3,000.
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a lot of money for me, but maybe you invested 100,000 and there were 20 people that invested 100,000. Well, now,
Right.
My part's adding up and it's really making it worth it to me.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Chip says, did you know there are new programs in states for collecting unpaid rent since last April due to COVID? Landlord can apply on behalf of tenant. And he said he would put the links in the chat. Thank you for that, Chip.
yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, our property managers are doing that in the places that have that.
Isaac says, so no catch up, meaning 7% goes back to investor, then 2% to you, and then anything above 9% split 70-30. I don't think that's what you mean. I think 7% goes back to the investor and anything above that is split 70-30.
Yes.
Of course, yeah. And I've seen these things so complicated with waterfalls and or milestones to hit. It can be all kinds of things. I've also seen commercial deals that have preferred lender and secondary lender, preferred equity, common interest equity, and you can make it really complicated. And I guess everything's permissible as long as you put it in writing and it's clearly stated and you understand what you're doing. Right?
We've done calls with the milestones and or hurdles as they call them.
Yeah.
And it would just get so confusing that people would glaze over and they're like, it sounds like a good deal. I don't understand it. I'm out. And so it's like, okay, 7 pref, 70-30 split. We're incentivized to make money for you so we can make a lot of money. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So anonymous attendee says, do you refi a property before you sell?
Not usually. We're trying to flip it as fast as we can. Okay. And the good thing for the investor is, maybe I'm getting you, maybe I was shooting for, 18% per year over 5 years to you. But if I can get, say 50% back to you in a year and a half or something like that, then I can get you a higher return. And then hopefully you'll invest with me.
Now, you sell most of everything that you buy.
Yes.
How do you decide to keep something?
Well, we're wanting to keep more stuff. And, we're talking about maybe putting that in the paperwork to where we can sell it, make the investors whole, give them their preferred return, do the split, and then keep them in the deal, but not have the preferred return because the profit's going to be smaller, even though you have nothing in the deal.
Yeah. Once I had my cash back plus a preferred return, if I could stay in at a percentage, I would, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. That's what we're moving to, but but we're not.
One of the things I say about flipping houses is it's great, but it stops as soon as you do.
Yep.
And you wouldn't know this, Paul, but when you get to be my age and get a little worn out and tired of life and your knees ache just walking from the chair to the door, you might not want to do as much as you have done in the past. I still enjoy it. I like it. I've got a big road trip planned for the next couple of days to go look at properties we're flipping around the state of Alabama. But, one of these days I might want to slow down a little bit, sit at the beach and try to figure out. that's when I want to own something long term.
Right. Yeah, and I'm keeping stuff myself long term. Some of my single families and small apartments. But yeah, I want to do the big apartments long term and make a real nice, attractive arrangement. And hey, you let the investors pay off a $30 million property, you'd be all right.
All right. Well, I want to go now to Chip, who represents one of our other sponsors, big sponsor for the Flipping America RIA, and let him talk to you a little bit about Bay Mountain Capital and what they have to offer. And they also do allow, they have a funding program for multifamily. So
Really?
Chip, are you there? I don't think Paul's going to be able to hear you, but
Okay.
go ahead.
Paul, can you hear me?
No.
I guess not. All right. Anyway, I put the information about Bay Mountain in the chat, but I wanted to tell you about one deal that closed last Friday. That'd be all right?
Yeah.
All right. So people are always saying there aren't any deals out there, but there are. Here's one where the purchase price was $295,000. He's putting $88,414 into it, so almost $89,000. And he got a loan for $379,300, which is just a little bit below 100%. You know how I always say up to 70% of the ARV?
Mm-hmm.
So he was a little bit below. He had 98.9%. Had to bring $4,114 as a down payment to closing. He thought it was going to be worth $520,000. So he can make a nice profit with that. Pays for $545,000. So he's looking like he's going to make about $120,000 to $130,000 profit, depending on how many months he pays interest.
100,000 on one deal.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. All right. That's great. And do you put the information about Bay Mountain in the chat?
I did.
And Bay Mountain Capital, great people, great products, great service. They can help you with multifamily. And Chip, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that Bay Mountain is doing for the Flipping America RIA, helping us be a big part of who we are. And so I thank you for that. I'm going to come back to Paul now and give you the final word, sir. Give us your little pep talk. Motivate us to get out there. I mean, I've been enormously motivated, and I get that way every time I talk to somebody that's doing something cool. But while everybody else is filling up the chat with their sevens, appreciating you and applauding you and thanking you for being here, and I'll try to remember to send you the chat record so you can see. Everybody, come on, get the sevens going. I don't see them happening yet, but get them going in there. Show him your appreciation. Now, lay some wisdom on us, lay some inspiration on us, and get us all fired up about getting out there.
All right. I'll try my best here. So I was thinking like several things that might be a big help to people. Number one, invest in yourself. And that doesn't mean go spend $80,000 on, something like that. Buy Roger's programs. He's got some good stuff. But invest in yourself, learn, read, get around people that are doing what you want to do and they're doing it well. Follow them, hang on their coattails. And, some people want to analyze and never do anything. Sometimes you just got to, hold your breath and jump in, get in with some people that have your best interest in mind. And, just take a dive if you want to get into it. So hopefully that's some
awesome
wisdom nuggets. By the way, I don't know if you were going to say this, but if anybody's interested, I'm going to put up a multifamily underwriting template on my, if anybody wants to go to our website and subscribe to
people are asking how they can get in touch with you. So give us that information too, before we get off here.
Sure. So our website is multifamilygeeks.com. Actually, I've got
I'm going to put it in the chat.
Multifamilygeeks.com. You can see our core values, which is what we use to drive all of our daily decisions. You can see some of the properties we're in, some of the properties we've exited, kind of our process. And then on there, it'll pop up and it'll say, if you want more information, subscribe to our newsletter. put in your email. If you'll do that, then we will send you the underwriting template. You can tinker with it and, see if you can, start underwriting some deals and just kind of see how they look if you have any interest in that. So.
That's great. That's terrific, Paul. Man, I really appreciate you taking time to join us tonight, and thank you so much. And you guys can get over to multifamilygeeks.com and connect with Paul in a personal way, and let's just make it happen.
Yeah, and if they want to, I'm okay if you want to give out my email or cell number. I'll be traveling next week, but I love talking about investing, about real estate, multifamily.
All
I
right.
just want to pick.
Let's let them contact you by email, and then you can decide whether to give them the cell phone. All right. What's your email?
Paul, Paul, at hcshomes.com. hillcountryselecthomes.com. Paul at hcshomes.com.
Got it. It's in the chat. All right, everybody. This has been Paul Williams. I'm Roger Blankenship, your host, and this has been the Flipping America RIA. We'll be back next Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern Time and Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time for more of the same. Great information, great inspiration, great people, and a little bit of fun. We'll see you.